Hi, I'm Holly, and it's been 1 year since I last dyed my hair, and just up ahead, I'm going to start showing you inside the line of demarcation and the grow out and what we've got here at the 1 year point. If that's of interest to you, if that's why you clicked this video, then stay right here because that's coming right up. Hey, my friends. Believe it or not, I'm actually at 12 months since I last dyed my hair. Woohoo! In some ways, I thought this day would never come. I remember when I first started, I thought I was looking at some progression pictures of other women who had been at a year or a little bit more or whatever. And I remember thinking, I can't wait until I can say that I've been growing out my hair for a year. Or I can't wait until I can say I've been growing it out for a year and a half. Or so on and so forth. I truthfully cannot wait until I can say I've been growing it out for 2. But I'm here at 1. And after I reached the 6 month point, it started to kind of go a little bit more quickly. And I think it's because I was continuously obsessing looking at my hair 50,000 times a day in the mirror from the point of time when I decided that I wasn't going to dye it again. I just kept taking a look in the mirror. I'd be in there all the time looking at those pretty white hairs. I'd be like, oh, look at the pretty white color. And I would just be looking at that color and I'd be imagining how it would look once it reaches all the way down, and I would keep looking at the pictures of the beautiful women who had inspired me to do this in the first place with their hair completed, and I would imagine my hair like their hair to the best of my ability of what it would look like on me. And of course, every time I would imagine that picture of it like that on myself, and then I would see like this much of hair growth in the mirror, I'd be like, oh boy, this is going to take a really long time. So yeah, that's kind of how I spent the first 6 months, and as a result, kind of like a kid waiting for the winter holidays when you can open up all your gifts. It takes forever for that day to roll around as you're counting down every minute for the last, like, let's say month or so until it arrives. Only in this case, it's even worse because you're counting down the minutes. You know it's going to be a long time. It's not going to be any month. That's for darn sure. Once I reached the 6 month point, I kind of just settled into it. It was kind of like, okay, you know what? I need to not, yes, like the image of what it would look like when it's done is what propelled me forward. However, I can't be comparing how I look every day to that image because it's going to be a while before I look like that. I need to start to embrace and be excited about how I look at any given stage along the way, because this is a unique look, and I've been at other stages between when I first started and now that had their own unique look, and it's going to look even more interesting still when the whites are coming. I mean, they're starting under here, they're kind of down there, but when they're when this is down to here, I'm going to look an entirely different way. And I started realizing, hey, you know what, I need to start just celebrating, enjoying how I look along the way, and then this isn't going to feel like such a long ride. And once I was able to get into that mind frame, sorry, I'm not talking well today, but once I got there in my mind, which was about 6 months in, I just stopped looking in the mirror all the time. Of course, then, as you know, I had the hair mishap thing happen 7.5 months into it. I had already kind of given up on looking in the mirror like so much of the time. So I was already sort of, kind of just riding that wave a little bit more easily. But then the mishap happened, and, that was its own thing. It felt like a huge setback, and in some ways it kind of was. But it's better. A lot of it's faded, and more of it's grown out. It's been 5 months now since that happened. So I'm starting to feel a lot better about how I look once again. So here we are at the 1 year point. I am going to be making, or I might have already released, a year in review. I'm not sure which one I'm going to release first. But in that one, I'm not showing you the grow out in the line of demarcation. I'm just really showing a year in review. So here we are at the 1 year point. And I have a lot of white hairs in here. So let's take a look at those. Pretty. It's a lot darker back here, but I have some white, of course, and a lot of people have it that way. A lot of people get a lot of the white in the front. It's really dark under there. really white in the front, which is often how it is. Not always, but often. Okay. This side was my whitest side, but this got hit the hardest in that mishap. So there's a lot of staining still here, but it has lightened up. You can see it's getting lighter, but so you can tell that was all white. So I would actually have white hair down to here right now on this side, like big clump of it, but it's stained pretty good still, which is a little bit sad. I don't know if it will ever really come out, but it has faded, and I feel like it at least kind of makes more of like a gradient transition. So I don't feel at this point that it looks so bad anymore. It did look terrible for a long time. I was very depressed about how I looked, mainly because the coloring of it was just making my complexion, like, it was just making me look sick. So yeah, that was sad. But anyway, so here we go. A year of no dye plus a mishap, which, you know, this would be looking a bit different still if that hadn't happened. This would be so much whiter. Yeah, this was one of the things that was very sad for me, was this was my whitest area. But truthfully, it would have been sadder if this side would have gotten hit as hard. This side did get hit. There is some discoloration over here, but it didn't get hit as far to the roots as this did. This got hit all the way to the roots. This was a little further off my roots, and it wasn't as severe. It was a lot less intense. And in a way, I think this would have been worse, even though I had more white hair here, and in that way it seemed so awful that the place I had the most white hair got targeted the most. But this would have probably been more detrimental to my overall look, since this is what shows the most. So it's fortunate that it wasn't as bad there. Anyway, thank you again for joining me, and if this is your first time here to my channel, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. It's awesome to have you here. And if you liked anything that you heard here, please consider subscribing and clicking the bell so that you don't miss a thing, because I've got some amazing, really cool stuff planned in my videos up ahead. If you liked anything here, please give it a thumbs up, and definitely tell me about some of your own experiences or thoughts about the transition. Have you started yet? Are you considering starting? If you haven't started yet, do you have any concerns? If you have started and you're not that far into it yet, do you have any concerns? What are they? We'd like to know. And at least for a while, when I put up a new video, I do my best to stay on top of my comments. I don't have these things coming through my phone though, so it's not instantaneous, but I do try to get back to it within a relatively short period of time. So leave them below, and chances are you'll hear from me. Anyway, my friends, as always, have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever it is in the world you are right now, and I will see you back here again soon. Peace, my friend.